Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the show Sports Spring on Western Spring Television. My name is Joseph Atawe saying good morning and welcome.
And I am Nengi Ernest Ademola. Good morning and thanks for joining us this morning on Sports Spring, Western Spring Television. Of course, in the world of basketball, it was a stunning upset when Miami Heat defeated the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals for Game 1. So they have that added advantage. And aside from that, upset also happening in the Italian Open when Novak Djokovic has been knocked out. And aside from that, more stories and analysis from the local scene coming your way. Thanks for joining us once more.
Well, as usual, we'll start from the local scene. I will start with the Nigeria Premier Football League, where we understand, according to multiple reports, that the winners of the 2023 Nigeria Premier Football League, the Super 12, will get the sum of 1 billion naira as prize money. Now, BSN Sports also reports that each participating club will also get 20 million naira, while the runners-up get 200 million naira. This was revealed by the Chief Operating Officer of the Interim Management Committee, Prince Davison Owumi, in an interview on Sports Houses, anchored by Michel Obi and monitored by reporters. He said, and I quote, "The way it is going, some clubs are even more serious for the Super 12 than the Super 6, because the eventual winners of the Super 12 will win 1 billion naira as prize money." He added, "It has never happened in the history of this country. We are setting the pace and hope that with what we are giving back to the sponsors, a lot of private sectors will come in to support the league to make it more viable."
And in addition to that, he also talked about the NPFL Super 6, and he said in his words, and I quote, "As for Super 6, we have matches from 11th June with 3 games per day with the best of Nigerian football on display." And he also urged Lagos football fans should come out and celebrate with the Nigerian best clubs on parade. There would be launch for a new logo as well as trophy parade. Now, the money spinning Super 12 tourney will involve the top 6 teams in each Group A and B of the abridged 2023 Nigerian Premier Football League. I think it's a nice one coming up because at the end of the day, the prize money, it's a very huge money to want to take care of some of things pertaining these teams. But for now, definitely the focus is for the Nigerian Premier Football League Super 6, where that would begin from the 3rd to the 11th of June, right there for the Super 6. And we do wish all of them the best. And let's see the very best 12 team also as they take on the tourney.
So how it works is that the top 6 teams from the Group A and Group B, as it was abridged, will form the Super 12, and the winner goes home with a whooping 1 billion naira. That's a lot to bring in players and, of course, bring in more, will I say, hands to work with the technical crew to put that team on the global map. 1 billion naira is enough, and it has never happened in the history of football in this country, and that is what the IMC, led by Legbeleye, and of course the second, Davison Owumi, are trying to do at the moment.
And let's switch gears right now and talk about the CAF Confederation, the Confederation of African Football, rather, that's CAF, because they have announced the disqualification of the Gabonese under-23 team from playing in the upcoming African Cup of Nations due to player age falsification. And the Junior Panthers defeated the under-23 Indomitable Lions in the final round of the qualifier and qualified for the competition. The Federation of Cameroon Football, that's FECAFOOT, protested the age of Floris Jave. It was alleged that the player was carrying passports of different ages. The football body on Wednesday, that was yesterday, deliberated on the matter and decided to disqualify Gabon from the competition. And the judgment means that Cameroon will now replace Gabon in the tournament slated to take place in Morocco in July. However, Gabon has an opportunity to appeal the judgment in the next few days. Of course, very fair judgment right here. And if Gabon think that they're not guilty of this, they have the opportunity to appeal. And Joseph, we're talking about this yesterday, most especially the 14-year-old boy in the under-17 AFCON who actually has the highest goals in the under-17 AFCON. We're talking about age falsification generally in Africa as a whole.
It's totally unfair. I mean, you have players who are overaged playing in age-grade competition. Totally doesn't make sense to me. You might enjoy the reward now, but then, I mean, what's the gain later? You could look at the Golden Eagles, that's the under-17, where it all starts before you get to the 20 and the senior level proper. Nigeria's won it 5 times, but has not even gotten to the quarterfinals of the main competition. I believe that in those 5 times we've won, we should have brought out a squad that will get to what's them right now, the quarter or the semi-finals. And that is what Moroccans have done. Even the aircraft, these guys grew through the ranks, and they showed us that they're capable, that an African team can do it, and they got to the semi-finals of football's global showpiece, that's the FIFA World Cup. And that is because they use 16 for 16, 17 for 17, exactly. Be true to yourself. And they are ripping it right now, talking about the Moroccans. And for Gabon, as I said, it's a continental team where people try to cheat when it comes to sports, because I talked about the economy played out. It's an escape route for a lot of people. So I'm not surprised this has happened to Gabon. It happened to the Cameroonian team, the female team, where it was discovered that 2 of the players were men. And, you know, it was a bizarre situation that year, which did spread like a wildfire. It was something everyone had discussed on every of the sporting platforms across the world. And this shouldn't be happening. We should be known for something positive across the globe.
Exactly. Now let's switch gears and also talk about Victor Osimhen, as so many of the clubs, even across the top flight leagues, are wanting him in their club side, Joseph.
Well, we understand that in what has been described as Napoli's director of football, Cristiano Giuntoli's biggest masterpiece. A former collaborator of Giuntoli has revealed how the club locked up Victor Osimhen in a hotel for 3 days before convincing the Nigerian to sign for the club. Costin, an interview with Tuttosport, said the Italian club were aware of interest from English Premier League giants at Liverpool and had to apply unconventional means to persuade the Nigerian international to reject the English club. After a stellar performance with Lille in French Ligue 1, where he spent only a season and scored 18 goals plus 6 assists in 38 games, the 24-year-old signed a 5-year contract with an option of a year in a deal worth 70 million euros, which could rise to 80 million euros after a number of performance-related add-ons. Before joining Napoli, Victor Osimhen was scouted by some top European clubs, and Costly in the interview revealed that Liverpool were among those interested. And according to him, Liverpool had sent scouts. They wanted Victor Osimhen desperately, but then the managing director of Napoli did what he could by locking Victor Osimhen up. Not that it locked him that he could not get out of something, but then they knew they had to get close to him, stay with him, and convince him. But then I'm happy for him, and also that club director who made that move, because I mean they've won the league for the first time in 30 years, and they're on the verge of giving him another bumper deal, something that has never happened at Naples before. And they're saying you can go at the end of next summer, but then at least stay 1 more season, so we can continue to reign and, if possible, win the Scudetto back-to-back.
Exactly. Now, talking about the fact that he has been very phenomenal and very instrumental because he led them to the Scudetto title this time around, one which the Napolitans would never live to forget. I mean, it was something else after that match that actually gave them the Scudetto title this time around. But I would follow that one closely, because I said earlier on that so many of the clubs and, of course, the teams in the top flight leagues are struggling to be able to get Victor Osimhen with, you know, some kind of swift and very smooth and very appealing sum to pay to Napoli to be able for them to sell him off to the club. But at the end of the day, that decision would be taken by Victor Osimhen. So definitely would see how it pans out to be for him. Now, let's also talk about the Nigerian Premier Football League. We did talk about the Super 6 and, of course, the 12 tourney game that is to be carried on. But this time around, the chieftains of the Nigerian Football Federation and Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps on Wednesday agreed to cooperate and collaborate more in the interest of safety and security at all football matches in the country. Now, speaking during a courtesy call on the Commandant General of the NSCDC, Dr. Ahmed Abubakar Odi, the NFF President Ibrahim Gusau praised the NSCDC officials for providing safety and security at football grounds. Now, he said in his words, and I quote, let me start by commending you for the immense cooperation that the NFF and the entire Nigerian football fraternity have been enjoying from the officers and men of the NSCDC over the years. We have decided to come here because of the critical nature of our relationship, to underscore the professionalism, diligence, and sense of responsibility of your officers, and to seek avenues for even greater cooperation and collaboration in the interest of Nigerian football. Now, the NFF president suggested to Audi about initiating state command football teams, as football is a veritable unifying factor between and among peoples and nation of the universe. I expect that when it comes to the IMC, of course, we do know that we have a new regime in person of Ibrahim Gusau as the new NFF president, but then they have to be proactive enough. If they know that they are going to need the assistance of the NSCDC, they have to be proactive enough to be able to do that, just to avoid things that have happened all throughout the Abridged League season, Joseph. Well, with all due respect to the NFF president, well, it is long overdue, but then we know this is a new tenure, and you're just coming in as the NFF president. And as I said, the IMC, in collaboration with the NFF, are trying to do what no one thought could happen in the Nigeria Professional Football League. We spoke about ₦1 billion. We spoke about the Abridged League, how it was managed, and we know that from next season it will be the full format, where teams will be given the opportunity to meet whoever they want to meet in the club when the games kick starts. And now we spoke about the amount of police that we have in the country. Trust me, it's a far cry to what you even have in Ivory Coast, what you have in Benin Republic, our neighbors here. Because how many police officers do we even have? If we do the calculations, maybe one police officer will be guiding, say, 20 or 30 to 40 persons, which is not possible. And Nigeria is not that safe. So you have these guys spread across the country. That is what match centers, you have maybe 15, 20 police officers to guard a 40,000 capacity stadium, except if the Super Eagles of Nigeria are playing, because those are big boys and it's a bigger competition, and not forgetting that other countries are coming in, so you have them in their numbers. But when it comes to local matches, you don't. But then partnering right now with the NSCDC, I think that's the name right now, you have more of those officials because they are also allowed to use weapons. So you have them in stadiums, and it's a welcome development, but it's not something we're excited about because, as I said, this is long overdue. Exactly my point. I mean, they have to be proactive enough to be able to ensure that such collaborations are supposed to be on ground even before the Abridged League version. But thankfully, these things are being taken into note, and we'll see how things pans out to be. Even one would have a very full league come next season in the Nigerian Premier Football League. Now, Joseph, let's talk about the Nigerian Falconets and the counterpart from Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, Togo, and Benin. They will all arrive in Ghana on Thursday, May 18, 2023, for the Wafu B Under-20 Girls Cup of Nations in Kumasi. The tournament, which kicks off on Saturday, May 20th, will bring together 7 countries with the sub-region to compete for honors in the maiden edition of the tourney. The Black Princesses wrapped up their preparations with a friendly against Niger on Wednesday ahead of their trip to Kumasi for the competition. Coach Yusuf Basigi's girls beat Niger 11-0 at the Accra Sports Stadium Wednesday in readiness for the competition. And Ghana is being paired with Benin and Cote d'Ivoire in Group A, while Nigeria faces Niger, Burkina Faso, and Togo in Group B. I mean, this should be a team, this should be a group in which the Falconets can be able to surpass. Of course, we had friendly games before this major competition coming up by May 20th, where we beat, I think, I cannot remember the name right now, but I think we defeated those boys 15 goals to nothing. And another friendly game, 10 goals to nothing. So with all of this being geared up, they should be able to perform against the likes of Niger, Burkina Faso, as well as Togo in Group B. Well, unfortunately, it's not that easy. We said the same thing when the Under-17 were to take on Burkina Faso. I could beat my chest that Nigeria was going to scale through, but see what happened at the end of the day. What it means that other countries are weak at the moment. And it's not about because they're putting a good technical crews or the recruitment system is superb. One thing is playing out here. Football has become a mega business. I mean, and they understand that and use it as an advantage. The UK, one of the finest countries, I mean, do not have oil. But what do they rely on? They rely on education and sport. Yeah. It has become a mega business. And
I mean, so other countries know that we can make money from this. We have the talent. So they will go through the books and do the writing. And that is what we're currently witnessing. In the last decade, these competitions like this, we do not even do permutations. We just look at the amount of goals the girls or the guys will score and win the competition. Yeah. But the case is different right now because there's a lot of money. So I believe that the NFF president in Gusau and those involved, those surrounding him will, speak the truth to him and understand that, see, on the normal ground, Nigeria is a force to reckon with in any competition. And yes, we must put the right hands on deck to make these things work. And if we don't, we're already going down the drain. We'll be sunk. We will sink rather at some point and maybe unredeemable.
Now, leaving football aside, another area in which Nigeria has been able to advance and, of course, massive development is in that area, definitely is with our athletes. Now, following the outstanding performance in the just concluded African Championship in Ndola, Zambia, 22 of Nigeria's athletes have secured scholarship into the American universities. Now, Nigeria won 17 gold, 9 silver and 7 bronze medals to finish second to South Africa in the age grade competition. An official confirmed the development to the Guardian correspondent on Wednesday. And according to the awards, some of them have secured their visas already and will jet out to the United States soon. This represents the future of our athletics. In 3 or 4 years, the likes of Toby Amusan and Ese Brume would have reached their peak with the crop that came from Ndola. We have hope. We have to put the group together and do the right things. We can do well at the African Games and Olympic, they said.
I hope you are seeing the bigger picture, honestly, here, because, Nengi, I'm looking at these athletes, the junior athletes, and the Americans are very strong. They know how to cajole you.
Exactly. They know how to convince you.
Yeah, because there's a clause in that contract. At some point, they don't say it's by force. They say at some point, if you wish to run for America, you can.
And who wouldn't want to?
Thank you. So, so it still boils down to poor administration here. If we have our schools and everything, we had enough facilities, these girls won't be accepting this. And it's totally unfair on us that these girls used our own facilities to showcase themselves to the world. And America's done the simple thing, give them visas, and they've joined up. And they also put a clause that if you want to represent America, you can. And there's a bigger price to it when you represent America.
Yeah, sure.
It's quite unfortunate. And but for the girls, honestly, congratulations to them.
Exactly, congratulations to them. But that is as a result of hard work.
Yeah, but as a country, in the next 10 years, we'll feel this. We'll talk about these girls. But the name sounds Nigerian. These are the things
I think I just read it clear out because in the next 4, 5, not even 10 years, in the next 5 to 6, 7 years, the likes of the Ese Brume, Tobiloba Amusan, they would have reached the peak of their career. So what about the next generation?
I mean, it's quite unfortunate. But if you were in the shoes of the girls,
you would actually accept it, exactly.
I'll do the same thing. It takes months. I'll go the same day. That day, I'll be there. But just before we go on a break, let's do something very unusual and talk about the UEFA Champions League quickly. And then again, talk about what happened yesterday. No one saw that coming, that Real Madrid will be mauled.
Exactly.
At the Etihad Stadium. Not beaten, they were mauled.
Honestly, because it was Joseph, at this point, I would like to say it was very clinical. It was very clear yesterday. It looked like Real Madrid had 5 players on that pitch, while Manchester City had 20 players on the pitch. The likes of the Toni Kroos, the Valverdes, what's his name now, Luka Modric. At a point, we weren't seeing them. I tell you for sure, yes, I think I said this yesterday on radio that for Pep Guardiola, he doesn't repeat a mistake from the first leg to the second leg. He always advances. And aside from that, you have to be extremely perfect if you want to play against Pep Guardiola.
You feel that Bayern was a disgrace at Bayern when it comes to the Champions League. That was why he left.
But he has improved. Look at the signs.
Yes, he has, because he has honestly, what City played yesterday, goodness, I didn't see that.
I think for Real Madrid.
So now people will understand that Arsenal did a good job to have pushed City this far.
You know, let's even switch our minds back. Let's travel far back to last season where it was the finals between Real Madrid and what's their name now, Liverpool. I think Thibaut Courtois did the most job for Real Madrid. Honestly, looking at that.
I think something happened
because
yesterday.
It explained yesterday too.
Own opinion. Eder Militao switched off. Vinicius Junior switched off. What's the name of this guy? David Alaba switched off. So
big names. These are not just little names. They're big names.
Little or nothing. And you know, there is something there. You can see a man who is muscular, who has the muscle, and see a very slim man. If the desire and that hunger, that bite is there, they might end up beating that man.
Exactly.
And that was what happened to City. They wanted to enter the UEFA Champions League final. But now, you know, this hype of that whoever wins the game between City and Real Madrid will want to win the Champions League. I just hope it doesn't get to the head of these players, because there's an Inter Milan that is very unpredictable, that will push them to the wall and might go on to win that title. Because I spoke about 2010. No one gave Jose Mourinho and Inter Milan the opportunity that they were going to beat the almighty Barcelona that just won 13 trophies this previous season. The World Club, everything available, Barcelona had won. So they got to that final, and then 3 men stood up. Samuel Eto'o, Wes Snyder, and one other guy I can't remember here. And then they won the UEFA Champions League against all odds. I'm talking about the team that had the Xavi and Iniesta. They called them the ghosts of the midfield as at then. So they need to be careful and be wary of the threat Inter. We'll bring on.
You know, looking at Real Madrid so far, I'm sorry to drag you back, because if you look at what they've been doing in the La Liga domestically, you would know that they've lost something at a point. I was thinking that probably they were just they just lost focus for the league domestically, and they were solely focused on getting the UEFA Champions League, getting the finals, and also winning it for the 15th time. But I think it wasn't, from yesterday's game, it wasn't that, because all of their flaws were just obvious. And Manchester City taking advantage of that. 4 goals. I never saw that coming, Joseph.
Well, we never saw that coming. Let's give you highlights. Let's stop the talking here and give you highlights from the match that was played yesterday at the Etihad Stadium. It was filled to the brim. We'll be back.